So that's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What so your son's due any day now. How old is your daughter?
So she's 3. She'll be she's 3.5. She turned 3 in May. So our birthdays are actually a week apart. So she's May 27th.
For real?
Yeah.
Nice.
So my middle child, our birthdays are 4 days apart.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. July 11th and July 15th.
Yeah. So I ain't celebrated my birthday since 2022.
I ain't celebrating my birthday in 20 years, bro.
I was like, they just didn't tell you he's got 7 of them shits.
You didn't know I had 7, huh?
I didn't know you had 7. I know about the girls.
He got a basketball team plus some reserves.
Yeah, shoot. You got that's a coaching rotation. I only go 7 deep when I coach.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
He's got subs and everything. He's ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I only go 7 deep.
Not a one of them play basketball.
Not a one.
Which is crazy, because you what? Ain't you 6'15", 6'12", something like that?
6'10",
Yeah, he's 6'10", and his son is 6'7", 6'10", or 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, nah.
Yeah, he liked
How
football
old is he?
though.
Don't play.
He's 22.
Don't play a liquor ball.
Yeah, his time passed.
Yeah, no, he liked football growing up. He liked to hit people, so.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But have you seen the new CBA? Like,
Right. Exactly.
No, I got him in basketball when he was like maybe 11 or 12, and it was just like he enjoyed it, but he didn't enjoy like football. Like
I feel
he just liked football, man. He loved the thrill of trying to get through and hit the quarterback and get a fumble or something. Like he just loved that thrill of that.
I get it, man. Yeah, I played football for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So I played for a while. I played minor league ball for a while. So I mean, it was fun, but like hoop was always like my heart, so it was like that was home for me,
Yeah.
And it hurt a lot less, man. After a while, like,
Yes,
what we doing all this for?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I never got to play football after like 6th grade because my knees. My mother wouldn't let me play because of my knees. And in high school, when I finally went back to high school, the coach, one of the assistant coaches, was like, "We want you to come out and play tight end." And no, can't play. I'm like, I would have been.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have played.
It was a lot, man. I remember, man. We leaving games. You know what I mean? We playing grown men. This is grown men strength that we going up against. And I take the pads off, and I'm like, I'm a little sore, man. I wake up. I remember one game, man. I woke up the next day, my entire chest was just black and blue. My whole chest, That's crazy. I mean, and it was like, you can't say nothing, right? Because, football players, we men, we supposed to be tough.
Right.
I'm laid up in bed on Sunday mornings because I can't get out of bed.
Right.
Physically. Like, I physically can't get up because my body's so beat up from, you know what I'm saying? 2 hours of game time.
Yep.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yes, sir.
My uncle, he played back in the 80s in Kansas State before he blew his knee out at Kansas State, but he played with like a broken foot, and he was like a punter or something like that too, so he was kicking the ball with a broken toe and all that. Like, bro, he played through it all. Now his knees are like shot, but
that's how it goes, man. I played in high school, played a game with a partially torn ACL, didn't get it checked out till after the season. We was just wrapping it up and taking ibuprofen every game. When I was playing minors, I'm out here concussed. And they was like, yeah, your season's over. I came back 6 weeks later.
Oh, shit. Like, hit the one in the middle.
Yes. I'm out here just suffering.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's great. Let me introduce the show real quick, and we'll get it kicked off.
There you
go. One of those. You're listening to the MAJO Podcast, Real, Raw, Unfiltered. Just a couple of married guys talking about life, fatherhood, and manhood, the good, the bad, and the stuff that nobody wants to say out loud. So expect honesty, humor, and probably a few things we'll regret saying later. I'm Derek. This is Jason, and every episode we bring in a guest to keep it real with us. So let's dive in. Today we're asking the big one: do men even know what they're feeling? So I don't know if we do half the time, but we're going to talk to AJ with us to help break it down. So let's get into it. So speaking of how do men even know what they're feeling, talking about our conversation we're having about sports, I was at a volleyball tournament yesterday with my twins, and I was just kind of reminiscing on athlete life and stuff like that. And I've seen a few conversations lately about the transition from being an athlete, being competitive, like that being what your life is about, to post sports. I'm just curious now that we're talking about that. What do you feel like that's been like for you, coming from playing and, all through growing up? It sounds like high school minors and then college minors and then like transitioning out. What was that transition like for you just emotionally? What do you remember from that?
Man, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard because I remember I played a season overseas too. I hooped overseas for a season. I remember, man, transitioning out of it. That was my whole identity for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was the only thing. If you knew AJ, you knew him as the athlete. It was sports. It was ESPN. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got out, I remember like I'm done. I'm sitting on my mom's couch after I had finished playing. And I remember just like staring at a blank TV screen, and I'm just going, what's my life now? That was the question I had for myself, was like, what's my life now? So actually, like mentally and emotionally, it was extremely taxing. I didn't know how to be obviously I'm not a military dude, but I would almost compare it to what I've heard about guys when they get out the military. It's like they don't know how to go back to being a civilian.
Right.
So like for me, I didn't know how to do anything other than I'm a hooper, I'm a football player. My life is 9 months out the year, I'm training for something. And I'm sacrificing everything. And then it became, well, now I don't got to sacrifice no. I felt like Shaq after he won that first championship. I just started eating hamburgers, got lazy. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have, like to me, I'm like, well, I made it, I guess, but I didn't know how to, like there was no off ramp type of a program for me. It was like, all right, cool, your contract's up. You said you're going to retire. Go figure your life out now.
Right.
So it took me a minute.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about you, Jason, but like when I got done playing college ball, I was basically the same thing. It was like graduated, and then it was like the faint thought of maybe going overseas, like giving that a try, doing something like that. But at the point when I graduated, we didn't have the boys yet. So there was 5 kids. We had 5 kids, and I think the youngest at that time, so the twins would have been 5 when I got done playing. And so it was like, man, to drag the whole family overseas and just like uproot them and stuff like that. And do I really want to put in, and I played older. So like my wife had my daughter. We had our daughter when we were 17, our oldest. And then we had our twins when we were 25. Was it 25? Yeah, 2007, 25. And so like I graduated high school, took like 4 years off, went back, played 2 years at a JUCO, took off like 3 years or whatever, then went back and finished up and played. And so I was 29, I think, when I got done playing college, just because of those spacing out. And I was like, man, I'm about to be 30, literally going to turn 30 in a couple months. Like, do I really want to do this? You know what I mean? And talked to Sheena about it. And she still at the time, she didn't want to go. She's like, you can go. I don't really want to go. And I'm like, I'm not finna do that either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not leaving my family. So, but yeah, like the post from that has been difficult, being 6'10".
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And like everywhere I go, man, you play basketball, man. And now I'm bigger. So since my knee surgery, I put on about 60, 70 pounds or so. Now it's like, did you play football? You know what I mean? Like, so I get that everywhere I go. So it's constant, like a reminder of like, hey, you're not an athlete no more. Cause I gotta be like, no, you know what I'm saying? I can't, And then like the solidifying point of it was, I think I was 35, and the Knicks at the time had like a 35-year-old rookie on their squad.
Yep.
And I was like,
Make you start thinking like,
man, made me start thinking. And so I was like, man, let me get back in shape. Let me just get back in shape, see what it is. And that was when I didn't have knee injuries ever in college, high school, nothing. I rolled my ankle a couple times, but never had a knee injury. And then like just one day playing, I forget again, what's like 1-on-1. If you score, the next person comes on, you play them. I forget the name, King of the Hill, something like that.
Yeah.
And went up for a jump shot, bro. Pop, knee pop. Ended up shearing the cartilage on my femur, tearing my meniscus, everything, bro. And so, like from that point on, it's been nothing but knee problems. So that was like the nail in the coffin. Like you're not gonna do this any longer.
Right.
And so it's like been this identity struggle to learn who I am outside of being 6'10" and playing basketball. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's always been the thing, is like you got to shift your identity. You know, last year I was in Cleveland and I was going my way to a Browns preseason game, and I had a moment because Derek, you know Sterling and Duncan. I think you know my boys from Southwestern. They know you, because they always call you Six.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. If I saw a face, probably, absolutely.
Yeah.
Duncan. Yeah.
Duncan Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That my Facebook best friend forever, bro.
Yes. So we had talked about you on that trip, and it was funny, man, because we're in this elevator. The hotel we stayed at, we didn't know it, but the Vikings were staying there. So we rolled up, like I'm walking by Justin Jefferson. I was like, "You Justin Jefferson?" He was like, "Yeah." And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just, we just talking to him and stuff. And man, we're on the elevator with these folks, and we see these Viking fans. And so we're going to the game. We're not thinking nothing of it. And I see this lady and her daughter, and I was like, "Oh, hey, y'all ready for the game today?" And I'm 6'1", 6'2", I'm 280, I'm 290, I was a lineman, and then you got Duncan, he's 6'6", and then you got Sterling 5'10", he was a lineman, and then this dude turned around, he was like, "But are y'all ready to play today?" And I remember it hit me, because I was like, this dude really think I'm an NFL? Ain't no way. I'm too short. Okay, that's number one. I'm too short to play that position.
Man,
but I was
huge.
like, yeah, man, them linemen are gigantic, right? 6'6", 350, But I remember that hit me too, because I went, bro, like, you get filled with a sense of regret almost, I feel like, because that's so much of who you are. And then when people ask you questions, like lady was on the elevator with me during that stay, and she was like, "Are you a Vikings player?" And I said, "Nah, I don't play anything, But I remember thinking, like, because that was my identity for so long, I said, well, could I have been a Vikings player? Did I do everything that I could have done in the sport? Did I take it as far as I could have went? And it's like even kind of hitting the subject that we on, as a man, I feel like we always have that sense of regret when people ask us them questions. You always have that feeling, did I go as hard as I could? Did I provide for my family as much as I could last week? I asked myself that question the other day, and you sit back and then you mess around and get hurt, or you can't. And then that's just a whole other mental struggle.
Yep. Yeah, imagine being 6'10" and that
Right,
happening, because
exactly.
that's a reality. Like being 6'10", I could have, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not right height, all those things, and for me, I'm at a place where I can sit back and say, like, I didn't give it the effort.
Right.
Like, my some of my background, like I didn't start playing high school ball till my junior year because I was in trouble my 9th and 10th grade year. Like I got suspended my 8th grade year, so I was kicked off the basketball team that year. And in my 7th grade year, I got kicked off the basketball team because I punched a kid in the mouth for saying something about my mom, right?
Yeah.
So I just, and I was 6 foot in 7th grade, bro.
Oh yeah.
At 12 years old. So like I had the opportunity and the intangibles, and just didn't. And again, there's a whole lot of background to that, right? Like that reason why I wasn't focused, and some of the things I was searching for just subconsciously and relationship wise. But like having where you're like, I'm 6'2", I'm too small. Well, I'm 6'10". No, like I'm like,
right.
I could have been like,
you could have been.
And the thing about it is that you have to sit back and realize that when you ask yourself those questions, like AJ was saying, like, did you give it your, or did you do all the things? You have to sit back and be honest with yourself and have to be able to unpack the answers to that honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you, like you said, I mean, if you come to the realization that you did not give it your all, then you have to have a different conversation with yourself. And that has to start unpacking a different box like, oh, well, now how do I move on from that? Because the dream is no longer realized. And that's something that you have to put to bed on its own. But then you have to start struggling and grappling with the fact that you didn't give it your all and what could have happened and what should have happened and all those things. Like, you can't dwell on those things because, like, you know, like we said, we got families, we got business, we got things we got to do. And stepping into the next portion of your life is the important part because you don't have all those things. So really, honestly, did you give it your all doesn't really play into it, doesn't factor into it. You have to wrestle with that in your mind at the end of the day and say, am I going to let this continue to drag me down? Or am I going to use it as a stepping stone to say the next thing that I do, I will give my all because I deserve it. My family deserves it. The people that are dependent on me deserve me to give my all for this next part because I know what not giving my all feels like from this previous situation.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And the important part of that is to understand how you're feeling and be able to talk about your emotions and process through those because if you're just holding that down, it's going to come out as anger. It's going to come out as something else. And so, I mean, I think this is, you know, unintentionally, but organically, this conversation feeds into what we're talking about today with, you know, guys, and do we know what we're feeling? And so, like, there's a question for each of you that I have of how do you, if you think about your emotions and just growing up, what were you taught about emotions as a boy, either directly or indirectly?
Oh man, I think it's the same for most boys, right? You know, men don't cry. You don't feel nothing. Get over it. So basically, what I was taught from a young age, being raised by a single mother, having the uncles that I had, you know, my uncle is a blood, and I was close. Like that's I talk to him all the time. Like, he a gang member. He was a dope boy, and he used to tell me growing up, like, nah, you can't feel no, you can't do that. You can't be crying like that, right? So from an early age, I know I was taught the only feeling that you gotta have is not feeling. You can't feel. So the moment that you feel it, you have to kill it. Like, you have to eradicate that, basically. So from a young age, I was taught basically to be toxic and to not be in tune with my emotions. I wasn't even in tune with my emotions till my daughter was born. That was when I allowed myself to actually have emotions. Because I said, I'm raising a little girl, like, she's gonna be emotional. She's gonna feel with her emotions in her heart. So I have to be able to understand what that is. But I mean, yeah, man, from a young age, I mean, I don't know about you, Jason, but you know, and Derek, I don't know about you, man, but I mean, for me, it was you can't feel anything. You're a man. Go to work, go to sleep, conquer the world, and do it again. You know, that was it.
Yep. And I think, how old are you, AJ?
33.
33. Okay, so you're a little younger than we are, but you probably have the same experience too. Like, for some growing up with a single mom as well. Like, hip hop really influenced me.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and being on the side of town, like, I was one of the you know 2 or 3 white kids that was on the side of town, you know, the south side of Ponca, right? Like, and so hip hop was like the picture of manhood, if you will, that I had at that point in time from a really young age.
Absolutely.
I remember that I found outside of Hastings on a rainy day, getting into my mom's car, I found a NWA tape sitting in the gutter.
There you
And
go.
didn't know nothing about what it was. Put that thing in, bro, and it was over after that.
Yep.
Like, that was where I went for example, of what manhood meant. And that's all anger and no emotion whatsoever. You know what I mean? And so I definitely, that was the opinion. And then my dad, when he came around for about 6 months when I was 12, because he was locked up most of my childhood, he was the same thing. Like, it was anger or was smiling. That was it. There was nothing in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a very, very similar. My father was around but not around. So he was gone a lot, doing a lot of things. Like he had a lot of businesses and doing stuff. So he was gone a lot. And just, he liked to run the streets. So he did all kinds of shit. So honestly, I would have to deal with same thing out of here. It was either happy go lucky good times, or it was anger and punching holes in the walls and ripping cabinet doors off and, screaming and hollering, and then he'd just be gone. And so I'd have to learn how to process that. Well, my brother grew up with a lot of anger, who's 2 years older than I am. So he was always taking it out on me because I was the closest thing to him to be able to take it out on. So he would, I would just get the shit kicked out of me from, sun up to sundown. Very rarely would we get along like growing up or whatever. Now we're like best friends. But back then it was, the only thing we knew was anger, and I was too afraid to do anything to defend myself with him. So I would just take the beating and call it good and go on. But, it was kind of cry in silence. Don't let anybody see that you're upset, because he's just going to he's not going to stop beating me up because I'm crying. He's just going to keep going and tell me to shut up because mom's going to hear me crying. So I'm just, silently take the beating and keep it moving. And, my dad was strict in the way that, if I'm 49 years old, so I grew up in the 70s, the heyday of whoop your kids, let the teachers whoop your kids, everybody whoop your kids. So we got it no matter where we were. But so I mean, it was just kind of one of those things. Like I got the belt, I got the hand, I got the whatever it was. But very rare moments did I get the connection, the love, the things. Like I would get that, but it wasn't in the same volume that I got the anger, the fighting, all those types of things. It was fighting with my mom. It was fighting with somebody else. It was pulling over in traffic to fight somebody in another car. It was just that anger, or very small doses of laughing, smiling, and those types of things. So I wasn't really not allowed to have emotions, because I was really around my mom more than anybody. And she kind of I was fortunate enough that she taught me that level of being able to have emotions and feel bad and feel those things that I felt. And she really taught me to be introspective in a way that I could give opinions and kind of be like I used to say, my grade school psychologist, and always help somebody else with their problems and be real insightful and empathetic to people. So it was crazy in such a way that I was able to kind of blossom into what my mindset turned into, because I was always looking to try to help the next person so that they didn't feel how I felt, or they weren't struggling in any type of way, not really thinking about how it's affecting me by not emptying not filling my own cup. I'm trying to pour from an empty cup because I just don't want anybody else to feel how I'm feeling. And it wasn't until I got a lot older that I realized that I have to replenish my cup and do some healing myself before I can truly, help as many people as I wanted to try to help when I was younger. So it was kind of a weird mixture that I was able to blossom something pretty great out of. So I was fortunate. I made a fortune out of my unfortunate circumstances, I'll say.
Sure. I think that's what, if you do any real work on yourself, that's what you do with it. Hopefully you do something with it to better either your kids or somebody around you. Like if you do your own work and you begin to learn these things, it's like, how can I teach my kids something different? How can I teach this, the boys that I help or work with, how can I teach them different? You know what I mean? And so I think that's the cost of working on yourself, is you got to try to break that cycle.
Absolutely.
So we know that most of us really, growing up, really didn't know how to talk about feelings. I think, with my mom, there really wasn't that space to be insightful like that. And so like, I didn't know what insightful was, because I just was angry. And it wasn't ever looked at it like, hey, anger is actually, a protector emotion. It helps you feel in control when you feel really out of control or vulnerable, right? Like anger has a purpose.
Yep.
Anger is a beneficial emotion in certain situations. But for a 12-year-old boy always being angry, there's something else happening underneath the anger. And instead of like having that, and again, I don't knock her for it. Like, she didn't really know it either herself. Like, so I'm not saying this to dog her or anything, but it was more so like, you're wrong for being angry. You're wrong for having these emotions, right? And so there was no really space to learn how to talk about feelings. So my question then becomes, what does that cost us as men, husbands, and dads when we grow up not really learning about how to talk about our feelings or space to deal with them? What, for each of you, how do you feel like that's the cost of not knowing is, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Man, just to be 100%, like, this is raw, unfiltered. This is a real conversation. It almost cost me my marriage. It almost cost me my marriage. My daughter essentially would have been born without me and her mother together because of how closed off I was emotionally, not knowing how to feel those things. Like at one point in time early, and my wife doesn't mind. I've shared this before, and we always laugh about it when we talk about it, because we can't even imagine it being a reality now. But it wasn't just first year of marriage blues. Like, that wasn't the problem.
Right.
I had a bag packed, and I said, yo, we got to figure out if this is gonna work. And she was like, yeah, we got to just like. But I had to seriously had to look at myself in the mirror, so to speak, and say, okay, why am I emotionally unavailable to the person that I promised to protect her emotions? I promised to protect her emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, but I won't even allow myself to embrace the emotions that are in me, and so like for me, I think really just to say that, like, as men, it costs us way more than we understand, because we haven't done that work to heal. We haven't done, I didn't start in therapy until recently, in the last 5 years is when I started therapy, and discovering like, oh, these are the real problems I do have.
Right.
Like, these are the real issues that I'm dealing with. And so, I'll say, man, it costs us relationships because we don't know how to be in them. Because we can't even be with ourselves. How we gonna be with somebody else if we can't be with ourselves, right? So like,
no, absolutely.
I mean, seriously, it almost cost me my marriage.
Yeah. Well, and that's crazy, because when you think about it, like what Derek was saying, if you're not allowed to unpack why you have the emotions you're having, instead of, you're just told not to be angry all the time, instead of, let's discover what's making you angry, then we can look at why it's making you angry, then we can start working on how to involve another emotion to where it's not just angry all the time. Because if that's the case, and that's your snap trigger, like that everything that I was kind of surrounded by when I was younger turned into anger as I got older. And so as I grew up, and like AJ, same thing with you, it almost cost me my marriage, because all I knew how to do was be happy or angry. I had a switch. My shit was one or the other. That was it. That's all you got out of me. And I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. So when I get mad, like, bad things happen. Like, things get broken, things get thrown, things get tossed. Like that. Like, I'm a bull in a china shop. I used to be. And, my wife didn't come from that. So she's like, what is happening right now?
Right.
And I couldn't tell her. I'm like, I don't know. I like it. Like, I go from peaceful picking flowers to rage on 10 in a snap. And it's like, but why? I don't know why. Like, that's just what it is. My emotion is, I can be happy and glad about things, be content with what's going on, or I'm just like ready to burn the world down. And I don't know how it gets from point A to point B. I just know that point B is bad, and that's why we're not trying to get there. And it, the emotionally closed off situation was strange for me because I didn't even know I was doing it. But I wasn't worried about why. I wasn't worried about the what was going on. I wasn't worried about the, who it hurt. I was just worried about the fact that I needed to get out the rage I was feeling at the time, and this is how it's going to happen, and then I'll clean up the mess after the fact. Mm-hmm. Well, my daughter, when my wife and I first got together, my daughter's 5 years old at that point. So she is old enough to know when I lose my mind and I freak out and I throw things and I break things, like she sees that. Well, then, a year after we're together, my son is born. And so now I've got a baby and I'm doing this same behavior. And she's like, listen, like we can't. And I'll be honest, the kids helped soften me, like you said, AJ. Like the emotional part came in when I had my kids. Like when I realized that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me and my wife. Like I had to not only provide but protect and nurture little lives. Like that's a different situation. So I had to start having those conversations with why and how. And there was a lot of missteps for a lot of years. Like I did not handle a lot of situations correctly at all. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate enough that, my wife, who is a mental health professional now, like was going to school for those things. So as she's learning in school, she's learning that there's more to it than just me being mad all the time. She wasn't able to help me with it because, she's not going to counsel her own husband. But at the same time, she was able to help herself realize that it wasn't just that and that I needed to grow more. I needed to mature more. I needed things to happen. And we had to learn some things together to kind of help subdue those situations. But it was a very steep learning curve that had some very serious, repercussions if I was to continue on the way I was continuing on. So it does it's a very costly situation if you do not figure out how to manage and unpack those things. And AJ, like you're talking about therapy, which for men, like it's for you, it's twofold because as a man, it's hard to even admit that you're in therapy. Thankfully, over the past few years, mental health has become to the forefront, and we really have started talking about it and vocalizing it more. And I'm grateful for that because it's very important. But also culturally, it's very hard for a black man to admit that he's in therapy. So twofold, like that's something that I applaud you for because it's very awesome that you not only speak out loud about it, but that you were brave enough to kind of, admit to yourself that you needed help beyond what you were able to give yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think even with that, like, in the black community, if you say you going to therapy, you just crazy or, or you just soft. Mm-hmm. So like the first year that I was in therapy, I didn't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. Like I was not talking about it,
No, how could you? I mean, at that point, you don't trust anybody to believe what's going on.
No, no, not at all. Like I didn't trust any because it was, oh, he must have something way wrong. Yeah, I do. I have a bunch of generational trauma that's built up. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying not to pass this on to my kid. I'm trying not to pass this. Like my dad, my dad was, he had HIV and he was a drug addict. And he walked out when I was 6 months old, and I didn't find out about him passing away, until 2 years ago, and that was like a whole other set of issues.
Wow, absolutely,
right? That I didn't know I had. Mm-hmm. And the day that I found out that he passed away, it was like I was able to connect with my sister, so I was able to connect with his kids and his other kids and even my paternal grandmother, and she was the one who told me. And I remember when she sent me that message, I sat down on the couch and I was like, I told my wife that day, I said, I got daddy issues.
Mm-hmm. How could you not?
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And she's telling me, like my grandmother is telling me, he had HIV, he was a drug addict, and this is ultimately what did kill him. And I was like, babe, like, I didn't realize, I thought I was over missing time with my dad. I said, and babe, now the only thing that I want to do is hug him and say, I hope you're fine.
Right. Well, and it's the permanency of the misconnection of what you want to do, and now you know that not only it's not that you can't do it for lack of trying or lack of it, like it's just an impossibility, and that's a whole nother situation. Like so, having to face that head on, like that's a very it's a very traumatic thing. After everything else that that caused the other trauma for you to get to where you were, now you're slapped in the face with a trauma that you can't repair with somebody else. So you're looking at a whole nother mountain that you got to climb by yourself.
By myself, right? And now, like that's what's been the focus of my therapy recently is what was 8-year-old AJ going through when he wished daddy was coming home, when he was jealous of his best friends because their dad was home. Their dads came home every night. But why was it that I'm sitting here at, I didn't realize until recently, like every Christmas, I was hoping that my dad was going to walk through the door with some presents. And you don't realize you have these habits or you have these thoughts in your mind until one day at about 15, 16, I really did realize, oh, he's never coming. Right? Like, oh, he's not.
And then I wonder if like you're able to kind of at some level grieve it a little bit, but it's still like there's a part of it that he's never coming, but he's still alive.
Right.
So there's this little piece of like there's a possibility.
Absolutely.
And then when he's gone, like even that's out, and that's a different level of grief.
Well, and then trying to grieve it in the fact that realizing that it's a possibility. But then you have to think, well, he's still alive. Why isn't he coming? Like, this is a choice he's making to not come because he could come if he wanted to. So what is it about me that makes him not want to? Like those are all connections that we make, and we're not mature enough emotionally, physically, mentally, any of those things to make the proper connection and say that, oh, he's got healing to do or he's got this problem. Like I was an adult before I even realized my parents were people outside of being my parents. Like they're adults that have their own shit. They've got their own issues. They've got their own battle with mental health. They've got their own battle with all of the things. And I never put that 2 and 2 together for that until I was an adult. I was like embarrassingly old before I was like, oh, because somebody asked me that and it shook me because I was like, wait, what do you mean? They were like, how old were you when you realized your parents were like real people? Like that weren't just your parents that were there to provide you with your parents' stuff. Like when you went to bed and they shut the door or they left the house, like they had their own shit going on. Like you're an adult, like you realize what you do when you're not interacting with your kids. Like there's a whole other world of stuff out there that you're involved in that don't have anything to do with your kids. So I never made that connection with my parents. Like my dad for me, it just pissed me off. My dad wasn't home. And I'm like, well, he could have been home, but he was out doing whatever else, like fucking handling business all over town. But he could have been here hanging out and he wasn't, and he didn't. And we could have done stuff and we didn't. But like you said, AJ, it's the finality of having to unpack the fact that he's not like now he's not coming and he can't come and you can't go ask the questions that you had. Like you can ask him of your grandmother and she can give you some of the information, but she can't, she'll never be able to let you into the mindset that he had at the time that you were waiting across town for him to come walk in the door and he just never did.
Right. Yeah, that was something that really did. It hit me. And, one of the things that I thought about while you was talking was like, I think one of the most like probably one of the best low-key mental health / daddy issues episodes of television that is ever aired was the Fresh Prince episode, right? How come he don't want me? Right? That was, which, quick aside, I wish people never would have started that rumor that Will Smith's dad was like never in his life. I read his book and he was like, how did this become a thing? But that was probably one of the most powerful episodes, or maybe the most powerful episodes of what we as men go through, black man, white man, whatever your ethnicity is, because it's like you sit back and you're like, how am I so messed up that he doesn't want to be here?
Yep.
Right? Like, am I so messed up? And then what happens is it becomes a cycle. Well, if he doesn't want me, there is something that's wrong with me. Now I'm not worthy of anybody's love because I wasn't worthy of his love.
Right.
And then and you don't even realize that with that thought, as a teenager, with that thought, I poisoned myself for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I remember absolutely. I remember breaking down crying as a kid. Like, why doesn't my dad want me? Right. Like, and not knowing like he can't come because part of the right reasons he's in jail. Right.
Yeah.
But just even calling, doing something. I remember that there was you brought something up when you said something about the Christmas presents, like a memory. I remember like him showing up one day just out the blue. I think I was probably 5 or 6, and it was my birthday, but it was past, so he was late, but he showed up and he dropped off this red tent. And that was my birthday present. I had this red tent until I was in my 20s and ended up having to get rid of it. But I had it that long, like 20 years, because it meant so much, because he showed up and he gave this thing to me. And as you're talking about those Christmases and those different things like that, that little part in the background, like, wonder if today is the day. Yep. Wonder if he's going to come up this time. And like getting hit with that over and over. And in what you just said, like telling yourself, like, because at that, from 0 to 10, our parents are our whole world.
Yep.
Whether or not they're there or not, biologically, innately, we have a connection to them because we are made from them, right? And so there's this innate draw to them, want for connection with them, and to not have that, you don't know that they're human outside of being your parent. So you don't know why he's not coming. You don't know that he has his own drug issues and he's back in jail and he's doing all these things, and because of his own past and stuff like that, all you know is he's not there.
Well, the narrative, like in your mind, you'll create a narrative that his world is perfect. He's out there living in fantasy land, and he's got the family he wants and the life that he wants, and everything is so fantastic for him wherever he is.
Right.
Regardless of what you see, what the truth is. You know, if he's, struggling trying to find his next fix, or he's run down in a den somewhere trying to find out, what's going on, or he's on drugs, whatever that may be, like none of that ever factors into your mind. In your mind, he's living his best life somewhere that you're not.
Right.
And you just want to know why you can't be a part of whatever it is he's got going on.
Right.
And it's, again, that struggle for that is just, it's unreal.
Right. And I think that definitely stayed with me. And that's some of the deconstruction I've been doing in therapy over the years. But I think that followed through within my parenting early on, because even though my first was a daughter, I was the one that was like, we don't cry. We don't, it doesn't matter. We're not crying. You better suck it up. You're going to be tough. Like all those things, even with my oldest and my son, my oldest son. It was all that way. And I think that was the cost for me of not knowing, because I thought, well, I'm here.
Right.
At least I'm here.
Right.
At least I'm being a parent. At least I'm doing these things. At least I'm at the games. I'm working. I'm providing. My wife was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of the times we've been married. Like, I was working, providing. Like, at least I'm here. And to me, until I got into therapy, that felt good enough.
Right.
Not knowing that the cost of not knowing my own feelings, not knowing that I had this underlying feeling of not being wanted or unworthy of love, was affecting the way that I was parenting, because I couldn't recognize that my kids love me just because I'm me.
Right.
And they don't need anything but me. And that's good enough for them. Like, I could, and being in mental health, like, I've seen so many kids, like, they're abused by their parents and they still love their parents. Right. And so I couldn't fully receive that love. And so that was the cost, because I recognized, especially with my oldest two, and I started to do it with my three girls in the middle, until I got into therapy. I was doing my grad program and then got into therapy, and I started recognizing these things.
Right.
And I was and started being able to see like, no, they love you. Like you to them, you are worthy of love because of just because you're you. Like you
Right.
don't have to do anything. And you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do all these things. Like they love you just because you're you, and that's okay. And so, yeah, man, that's been a lot of deconstruction I've had to do from organizing principles that have been built early on, because I have stuff with my mom too with the same thing, where she had her own stuff that made there be a disconnect there, loving wise.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go into the next part. Like, so with the next part, how do we break, now that we know the cost, how do we break the cycle? What do we do differently with our kids or with those around us to kind of break the cycle of not knowing, or now that we know?
Yeah.
That was a horrible transition. Sorry. I'm still new at this.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think you answered the question previously. You said show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. Right. So Duncan, whenever I remember I called him and I was like, bro, you like, cause our daughters are 6 months apart, and his son, I think was like 3 or 4 at the time. And so I called him like, right before Gianna was born. I said, bro, how do I do this? I said, you my closest friend with kids. How do I do this? And I was like, cause the whole situation with my pops, me and my moms, we're like here all the time. I said, what do I do? And he was like, man, he said, your kid is never going to remember how bad you mess up if you just continually show up.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, that's the most important lesson I've ever learned as a father. And the thing is what I realized is like, you break that just by being present. Just by being present. And I made myself a promise. I said, man, whether or not me and my wife work out, I'm always gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
And because what I've realized is that by me being here, by me being present, number one, my daughter understands what love looks like.
Mm-hmm.
She understands what it means to have a father in her life, and then by that, and then also I said, man, me showing up and breaking that cycle, now my daughter sees like, okay, this is how I can say, this is the type of love I could say yes to, not just by me being a father, but by me being a husband, being the example that I didn't have. So I think, man, if we just show up, and if we can just like show our kids different, and the motivation is not but the motivation can't be, well, I didn't have this.
Mm-hmm.
The motivation has to be, let me prevent this for them. Because at that point, it's like, I'm not trying to prove him wrong. I'm trying to make sure that they're right. Trying to make sure my kids are right. Trying to make sure that, because yeah, my daughter thinks I'm the coolest person ever. I know I'm whack, I'm lame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as long as I walk through the door and tell her good night every day, and I tell her have a good day before I leave in the morning, she's not gonna remember the mess ups. What she's gonna remember is that dad was always there. He always loved me. He always showed me that this is how it's supposed to go.
I think with the mess ups part of that, yes, we can show up. It's also owning when we mess up, right?
Absolutely.
Because if I think working with people now, being a therapist, like I do think that at some level, even myself at some level, being in therapy, like we do remember the things that our parents messed up on. Yeah. I think what makes us remember them though is the lack of accountability that most parents and responsibility that most parents take.
Absolutely.
And so if there is something that you mess up on even daily, like, me having ADHD, so like the way ADHD works at the brain level is like emotions spike really quickly. Anger comes out really quickly, and it's not a choice. It's just the brain's reaction to the stimulus. And so like I can get angry like that, and it's not that I haven't done my own work or that I can't be emotional. It's not how my brain works, right? So being able to come back, hey, my bad, like I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have acted that way. I apologize. I think those are what repair the wound so they don't remember the mess ups. But if you can show up, and I think that's what I did with my oldest, I showed up, I was here, but I would never own my stuff. And it wasn't until I got to start owning my stuff that they were able to start moving past those wounds and just be appreciative that I'm here, and just love me for me. But we got to show up and we got to be willing to accept responsibility. And I think that if you don't know what you're feeling,
Right.
if you're not doing the work to understand your emotions and what's happening in those moments, and also connecting those to your own childhood things and past relationships, you're not going to be able to do that, and you are going to leave wounds and scars on your children. And so showing up, accepting responsibility, and if you're listening to this right now and you're like, what does that even mean? It's probably time to start getting into therapy or looking for something to learn what that is that's happening internally so that you can own that responsibility.
Nah, yeah, for sure. I looked at that, and I 100% agree, because that's something I had to learn with my kid. Is I can't fuss at you and make you think that I'm mad at you. And so if I do get onto her, it's always, I'll correct her, and I realize, dang, I was like, damn, I came on a little strong. And I pick her up, and I just hold her, and I go, and I just let her cry. And I say, hey, daddy loves you.
Right.
I'm sorry I raised my voice. Like, daddy is sorry that he did that. So yeah, you're absolutely, and even at 3, what I realize is doing that is now she trusts daddy more.
Yep.
She trusts daddy's more. She knows that I'm still safe here. Even if he's a little upset, daddy is a safe place.
Right. The relationship is more secure. It's super secure. And that's what matters at the end of the day. That's what the kids want. They want relationship with you.
Yep.
Like that's what we always want. And I'm gonna say this 100,000 times over the course of this podcast. No matter how old we get, all we want, that inner child, all it wants is a relationship with our parent.
Yeah.
And our kids want the same thing. And it needs to be a secure relationship, and owning when you mess up is part of what makes that secure. Jason, you were going to say something, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a lot of what I had to do. The work that I had to put in was learning how to not only adjust the way my feelings were portrayed, but also learning to break it down into a more simplistic level of not just anger or happy. Like I had to start learning how to name other emotions that weren't just coming out that way. Or I had to be able to express why I was angry so I could break down, maybe it wasn't just anger, maybe it's hurt, maybe it's disappointment, maybe it's something else that leads to just manifesting as anger. But, much to both of your points, like with my kids the same way. Like I had to do a lot of owning up to not listening to their feelings, not listening to when they brought, because my kids are older. Like both my daughters are 30 and my son is 23, and I've got grandbabies now, and my grandbabies are 6 and 8. So there's a lot of atoning for things I did back when they were smaller. And a lot of times I just didn't want to hear it because I'm like, well, I was doing my best. I was trying. I was, every excuse you could imagine. Like, oh, well, you gave me reason to act like that, or I wouldn't have done that if you wouldn't have done this. Like it was always from a defensive standpoint. It was never a let me listen to you to listen. It was let me listen to you to respond so that I can protect myself from looking like the bad guy.
Right.
And in their story, I was the bad guy at times. There are times that I legitimately was, and they deserved not only did they deserve an apology, they deserve validation for why they felt the way they felt, and an apology. It doesn't always have to include an explanation of why I was doing what I was doing, because they don't really give a shit. They just want to know that I understand why they feel the way they feel, and that I'm sorry for that. And so, because a lot of times if you try to break down with an explanation, it just sounds like you're deflecting again. And it sounds like you're being defensive and say, well, I was only acting that way because of this. You're not owning it at that point. You're just making another excuse as to why you acted the way you acted. But if you can really stop, listen to what they're saying and say, you know what, you're right. That is true. I apologize that I did that. You're right. You didn't deserve for me to act that way or talk that way or be that way like that. There was no reason for me to do that. I could have taken time. I could have sat back. Now, me being older and being around my kids who are now parents, it's funny to me because I'm like, I always get where, you remember when we always say, like, people always say, well, that's a different my father is a different person now that we have grandkids. I don't know that guy that always has McDonald's money, that's always cool, that's always this and
Right.
always calm and cool and collected.
Yeah.
Hi, what's up? I'm that dude now. Because my kids are like, huh? Like, how is it, like, how do you let these little girls, like, these girls got you wrapped? And I'm like, they absolutely do, and that's okay. Because I'm like, why are you so upset? Why are you so, like, you're rushing them? You're unreasonably upset at something very small they're doing. And they're looking at me like, really? I'm unreasonably upset all of a sudden, Mr. Hulk Smash, Mr. Get Mad at everything, and now I'm unreasonably upset.
Right.
But I'm like, I understand, but as you get older and things slow down, you realize that a lot of things you guys make a big deal out of aren't a big damn deal, because this time goes really fast. Think about the fact you have 18 summers from the time your kids are born to the time they gotta go. They got shit to do. They got a life to discover of their own. 18 summers is not a lot when you're knee deep in diapers and you're doing the things and the house is hectic and crazy. It feels like it's forever. But I'm here to tell you, brother, as having 3 that are gone, it's not a lot of time. Like it's just not. Like in my grandbabies, they were just born the other day and they're 6 and 8. Like it's like time's ago. In 10 years, my oldest grandbaby, or not even 10 years, in less than 10 years, my oldest grandbaby will be driving. Like, and that's insane to me.
Yep.
I just look at it and I'm like, the only hindsight that I have, which is always 20/20, is the fact that, like, I should have been way more present in soaking up every minute of having my babies when I had my babies. Because if you like, the one thing I wrote this one time, because I had to write something for work that kind of blew myself away as well as everybody that I work with. I was like, in the diaper age, in the toddler age, in the infancy age, like, you feel like that's gonna last forever. And people say that's the hardest part about having kids. The hardest part is learning what to do once they're done. Once they're gone and they don't, you work so hard to raise these independent kids. You want them to be able to go out and tackle the world and take on whatever faces them without assistance. And when that happens, you got to figure out what the hell's next for you, because you've wrapped up all this time in being a parent and having a family and doing this stuff. Well, when they go off and got to go do their own thing, you don't know what you anymore. Like, they don't teach you how to deal with not being needed, not being the go-to, not having to take them to practice, not having to take them to school, take them to all these stuff, or take them and drop them off at a friend's house when that used to be so damn annoying. And you're like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Okay, I guess I'll just sit over here, I guess.
And well, for future, that might be a good podcast to talk about the grief that you feel once your kids are old
100%.
and out. I think that's a good podcast
100%.
to have. I think I want to ask. No, and that's, I think, the point of Jason is saying, like, man, embrace every moment, because it goes by fast. Like, my twins are about to be 18, bro. Like, this, to me, this is so crazy. That I was just like holding both of them, one in each hand, just the other day. And now they both about to be 18 in their senior year.
Y'all got me feeling crazy, because I'm like, yeah, man, my daughter 3, I got forever. And then I just realized, she was born last week. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she was just born.
Yeah. And Derek,
I remember saying that.
And Derek only has 9 more years of volleyball left for his girls. I mean, and then he's got to figure out something else to do.
Something else to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
9 more years of college, travel ball, all the things in between. I mean, he can't do anything because of volleyball. But I mean, 9 years later, you'll be good to go.
Hey, my wife had to take the girls to volleyball right now, so it was volleyball tonight. But I remember saying that though, bro, AJ. Like, when my son was young, like, I got time, I can do this thing. I can go here. I can do school. I can do this. I can try to do this business. I got time. My son's 5. I got time. My son's 10. I got time. Dude's 22, bro. Like, it went. My oldest son is 22, and like it. I didn't have time.
Right.
Like it goes by so fast, man. So yeah, future podcast episode, the grief of parenting. But I want to ask this question before we, as we transition out this conversation. And Jason, I think you answered part of it, so I want to hear maybe your perspective too, AJ.
Yeah.
As how can we teach our sons and daughters to understand and express emotions differently than we were taught? And I think for me, I actually allow them to be what we were told was disrespectful, and maybe talking back. I allow them a little bit of that. Now there's a level, right? Like, you're not gonna cuss me out. You not gonna, we're gonna fight. You do that. Like, I'll still throw hands with you.
Yeah.
But like, I'm gonna let you kind of get some sass. I'm gonna let you because in that, I'm allowing you to learn what you're feeling, and I'm gonna ask questions to get you to know, like, get you down underneath that, to learn more what your emotion is and what you're really feeling, other than just being upset with me, right? So I think for me, that's what I've done.
That level of trust and leeway leads to truthful conversations. Like, you give them that little bit of way to express themselves in a way they're comfortable with.
Right.
And that's where more stuff, it's like giving somebody a shot and being like, well, that's what, now they're really telling the truth because they're a little tipsy. But it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing emotionally, because in their mind, they get that little hit of dopamine and they're like, oh, now I can talk a little freer now. So they're going to say some things they may not have said originally.
Right. So AJ, what's your thoughts? I know you're in the early parts, but how do you plan on teaching your son and your daughter how to feel and understand their emotions differently?
Man, definitely. So, we would let Gianna watch like Miss Rachel and Katie's Classroom and Wiggles, those types of shows. And one of the things that was like really consistent with Katie's Classroom and Miss Rachel, and this is actually something that I like took into parenting, is they would say, okay, if you're upset, that means you're having big feelings. Right. And, and they would talk about, like, they're singing songs and doing activities while talking about how to deal with your feelings. So like, my thought on that with my son, especially like knowing I'm raising a black man in the world that we're living in, knowing I'm raising a black woman in the world that we're living in, is your feelings are always valid. I'm never going to say your feelings are invalid. Now that we know that this is what you're feeling and you're sitting in it, how can we process this together? Right now, when my daughter is just picking her up and letting her cry. Right. Now sometimes she'll try to like stomp, and I'm like, nah, we don't do that. I don't know what show you got that from, but Daddy is turning that one off.
That's a little too big of feelings. Calm down now.
You can feel it. Cause I'm like, Derek, we could throw some hands. I thought you gotta wait.
Right.
But it's like, man, let's process that. Like, let's talk about it. And so at 3, I ask my daughter, why are you upset? What's happening that's making you angry right now? What's happening that's making you want to cry? And I talk to her in this tone. I don't raise my voice. And at 3, and this is what I'm going to continue to do with my son as well when he's here, is I'm going to talk in this voice, and I'm not going to invalidate what it is that they're going through. Because the thing that I've realized with being more in tune with myself and with my emotions, and being more in tune with who I am as an individual, is that my feelings are individually acclimated to me.
Absolutely.
Right? So I can't take a situation that my daughter's going through and say, well, that's dumb. I would never get mad about that, because it's not going to affect me the way that it affects her mentally. It's not going to affect me emotionally the way that it affects her emotionally. I remember, like, my mom in high school, my senior year, we made it to the semifinals of the state tournament in basketball. And I broke down crying when we lost.
Like, that feeling sucks.
Yo, I'm like, we go to shake hands, and I go to the end. I always was at the end of the line. And I remember I was just like, it's over. And I just like dropped to my knees. Like, I wasn't trying, you know what I mean? But it's like the emotion was so heavy that like my body got numb. And I remember I'm at the end of the bench crying, and the dudes from the other team, hey bro, you good, man. You good. You still gonna be playing, man. You good. And I just remember thinking like it's over. And I remember my mom was like, why were you crying? It's just a game. And I was like, you don't understand, like, this is my life.
Right.
Right. So for her, even though she would come and watch me play, she didn't understand the bond that I had and still have with basketball. And with my daughter, whatever it is that impacts her emotionally and mentally and even physically, right? Okay, well, let's talk about that. Like, let's, and maybe we're not going to understand today. Maybe we're going to understand 2 weeks from now. But we can continue to talk about it until we figure it out.
Right.
Because at that point, now you're understanding we gain tactics on how to combat those emotions. But then we also understand that it's okay to embrace our emotions, because our emotions make us who we are.
They affect everything. We are emotional beings, bro.
Exactly.
Like, a lot of people don't understand, but we have more neural pathways from our emotional centers of our brain to our logic centers than vice versa.
Right.
We feel, and so we think. We feel, and so we do. Like, our behaviors are symptoms of emotion.
Yes.
And if we're not understanding our emotion, if we don't know what we're feeling or get it or be able to process it, we're going to be acting in ways that we don't understand or get either. And it's important to do the work to understand yourself and like help your kids, like you're doing, start to understand, so that then I understand what I'm feeling, so now I can choose what to do.
Exactly.
Well, and that's a huge important part of it, is that, like what AJ was saying, was he doesn't put a timeline on it. Just
Right.
feel how you feel. We'll talk about it until we understand it.
Right.
Because like the same thing with my son. I've always, he's a very emotional, empathetic, like he's a very emotional child, and I never shied away from that. I let him have it. I'll talk to him, be like, hey man, like, do we just, like, what's going on? Do we just need to cry it out? And he'd be like, I really feel like I do. And I'm like, all right, man, have a ball. Like have at it. Like, whatever you need from me, you tell me. You want me to leave you alone, let you handle your business? I'm going to do that. I'll be back. You come get me when you're done, when you want to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, if crying it out help, cool, let's do that. But feel how you're feeling. And I was the same way. Like that, there were times where I had to go back and kind of redo the fact that I probably would invalidate his feelings every now and then for something that I thought was a little silly. But I caught it, realized it, remedied it, and went on about how it was, because I had to let him know that I was that safe space for him to be able to feel how he felt. And, my wife, who is a therapist, still, like, she cuts it off when she comes home. Like, as soon as she walks in the front door, there is no therapy brain whatsoever, because she will not, the only thing she will do is she's non-reactive to any emotional outburst. She will not give into it. But she's also done that with me forever. So anytime anybody acts out of character to her, she just kind of stares at him. And she's like, look, my husband is a giant and he throws things, and I am not, like, you don't, you can scream and get mad and get uppity all you want to. Like, I am not nervous about anything you have to say right now. And she just, so with him, there's a lot of times that he did feel like I was the only safe place for him to land and have those conversations, because I would help him not only feel seen and heard, but I would let him be as emotional as he wanted to be, because I knew that he needed it, because I didn't get, I had to go do that and suffer in silence, because I was either getting beat up or there was nobody there to talk to any damn way. So I wanted him to have those things. And while he's still dealing with his own version of becoming an adult, there's a lot that he's dealing with. Like, there's things that he wanted to do that he didn't get to realize. There are things that are already over, like the door's closed for him on that, even though he's only 23. So he's dealing with those things along the lines of also having, there's some depression involved in there. So, I mean, he's got things he's dealing with, but he also knows that he can come to me as a safe space because of the work that I did, which aligns a lot with what you're doing now, AJ. So basically, future casting, you being able to say that, in the long run, doing what you're doing is going to work out for you with them, because giving them that soft place to land only helps cultivate that relationship as they get older. So
Right. And we're the ones that are going to, like, if we can't name our feelings, how are they going to name their feelings, right? And so it's our part of our responsibility is to be able and to help them process and say, you're feeling really hurt right now, or you're feeling really sad about that, or you're grieving right now. That's grief. That's what that feeling is that you're feeling, right? It's like naming it, but if we don't understand it, it's going to be hard to do that. And I think that's the deep work that I call on all men that are listening to this, to start doing that deeper work so that you can then help teach your kids. No matter how, I'm teaching my son now at 22.
Right.
Like, he got in a car wreck a week and a half ago, and he got to a place where it was just so overwhelming and he was just feeling so bad. Like, he worked through a lot of it, but he got to a place where he couldn't do it. I'm like, all right, son, take your time. Can your fiance or girlfriend, whatever she is now, can she handle this piece?
Yeah.
And he was like, babe, can you do this? Like, he asked for that help because he recognized where he's at. And I didn't shame him for it. Like, there was a part of me that wanted to be like, in the moment, it was a part of me that wanted to be like, bro, you got to suck it up. Right. Like, this is as the man, you got to suck it up right now in this moment and go through this and finish this piece so that you can handle all the business of this. Like, you don't have time right now. You can do that, right? That piece popped up.
Yeah.
And I had to catch it and be like, all right, son. What about Jasmine? Can she handle this? Yeah. It has to get done. I understand what you're feeling. Can she handle it? And he asked for help. Like, think about that, bro. Like, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal.
Huge deal. Because
right.
that's another thing that we're always taught is we can do it on your own, handle it yourself. Ain't nobody going to help you. Nobody's going to be there to give you a hand up, a hand out, none of that shit. You got to be able to buckle down, do the work of a man, get it done, and then worry about everything else later. And that's honestly like teaching him in that moment that he can put some of that weight down is right. It's monumental, because there's a lot of times we carry shit that's not ours to carry, because that's what we do. We got broad shoulders. We'll take care of it. We'll handle it. It's like, but do we have to? Do we want to? Like, is that really beneficial to us?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Especially if you have a good partner there that's willing to walk with you and do the stuff with you, right? Like that piece. If you have a wife that is with you, willing to walk with you and willing to carry it with you, allow her to do that. Like, that's what she's there for. And that's what you're there for her, to be able to carry those burdens together. So, AJ, final feelings, thoughts on this before we kind of flip the script a little bit.
Man, this is rich, man. This is rich. A lot of cats need this. Let me just say this now, because I could tell by the smirk on your face that it's about to be some shenanigans coming. But nah, man, I think more men need this. I think that this is a good thing, man, because whether it's serious, deep, kind of what we talking about tonight, like feelings or just anything, man, men need a safe space more than anything. A lot of times for men, women want to know why we take 30 minutes on the toilet. That's the safest space in the house for me. That's why.
Yep.
I'm literally just sitting there in silence, living my life right now. I'm just chilling. Right. So it's like, man, men need stuff like this. And honestly, man, I would just encourage any man listening to this. My therapist has encouraged me to do this. He's actually had me like physically like write letters and talk to the young me in our therapy sessions. So any of y'all fellas, man, if you can pinpoint that one moment in your life where something just like you knew it wasn't right, man, go deal with that. Go talk to that version of yourself. Because honestly, like, that's been the greatest source of healing for me, was talking to 8-year-old AJ, 12-year-old AJ, 16-year-old AJ, and 24-year-old AJ. That's
allowing that functional adult to take the hand of the inner child and show him compassion and care and comfort that he missed out on.
Right.
Right. And that is the healing work, man. That's the healing work. And yeah, get into therapy, man. Like
Getting the therapy.
get into therapy. Like, there's a lot of things that are therapeutic, but get into therapy.
Get into it. And
Right.
it ain't expensive nowadays, man. There's so many ways to get into therapy. There's so many ways to get into it, man. I'm an advocate for it because I've seen how it's changed my life and my marriage. Man, so yeah, y'all get into it, please. Because like the world, our kids need us to do that.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's switch and have some fun real quick. So on the MAJO podcast, we do this thing called the Blitz. And I'm gonna hit you with 5 quick hit questions and then 5 would you rathers.
Okay.
All right. And so whatever your answer is, say it. Unfiltered, raw, real. All right.
Yeah.
So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So question number 1, what is your most embarrassing coaching or athlete moment?
Ooh, oh my gosh. My freshman year of college. I went to Hillsdale Free Will Baptist College, now Randall University in Moore, Oklahoma. There was a girl I liked in the stands. I caught a fast
Shout out to the rivals of SCU back
Shout
when
out
was
to the
alive.
rivals. So here's the thing. This is why I'm telling this story, because we were playing SCU at home.
Okay.
Now, my college girlfriend is in the stands. I catch a fast break. And I had a little bounce back in the day. I could get a little rim grazer, right? I catch it. And I see like my roommates in the stands, one of my homeboys, and they're like, yo. And I see her and she's like, and so I said, yeah, I'm about to boom this one. And I'm talking like I'm trying to like
tear the rim down.
I'm trying to like Kobe in 04 reverse it. I'm trying to go crazy. Right. And I knew I had enough bounce that if I do it close enough, I can probably reverse this and get it in. Like I knew I had that bounce. As I'm taking off, my foot slips and catches. And I just went, hey, yo. Horrible, like ran into the wall. And listen, somehow, by the grace of God, I made the layup. Still, like I just threw it up and it went in. So I was like, well, hey, 2 points is 2 points.
Hey,
and I'm
right?
Got it.
But I was like, I can't believe that just happened. I said, hey, coach.
Right. Just go ahead and stop me out.
I gotta have a seat for a minute.
Right.
Obviously, we ain't right. Yeah. So that was hands down the most embarrassing moment I've had as an athlete.
Okay. What is one food you'd fight for?
Oh my gosh. One food I'd fight for. This is as crazy, man. This is like the most simple food, but man, some wings. You give me some wings, but it's got to be wings on a Sunday. I'm a scrap for those.
Okay.
Yep. Some wings during football on a Sunday. Oh yeah. Nah, don't touch it. We're gonna scrap.
Yeah.
Are you drums or flats or both?
Both.
Okay.
But if I'm like in a rush. If I'm in a rush, it's got to be drums. I ain't got time for the flats and that. But otherwise,
it's funny because I used to only be a drums guy, but now I'm a more flats guy, and I've ordered more all flats and paid extra money for all flats. It's wild to me. I don't understand.
Ranch or blue cheese though?
Blue cheese, man. I go blue cheese.
Oh man, it hits so different with rings, bro. It hits so different.
And that's the only thing I like blue cheese on, really.
The only thing I eat blue cheese with is wings. That's it. People don't understand though. They don't get it. They're like, blue cheese, ooh, that's gross. I'm like, try it on wings.
Try it with
it is
wings.
Good. Brian was the one
that
it elevates it. I'm telling you, Brian, our friend Brian was the one that introduced me to that one day. We were out getting some wings and he's like, give me some blue cheese. I'm like, blue cheese? Right. He's like, don't knock it till you try it. And I'm the type of person, I'll try anything. I don't care what it is.
Right.
And if somebody's eating it, I'll try it just to see. So I dipped it and I was like, oh my.
Yes.
Like, oh,
life changed.
Okay.
It changed my life.
Right. I can't, and I hate eating wings with ranch now. Like, if there's only ranch, I'm like, oh.
Right. I'd rather just not have no sauce.
I'm honestly, I'm a no sauce guy. I would rather just dry rub and call it good, but it's got to be a good dry rub. It can't just be some regular. I can't. No. So I gotta have some good seasoning in there.
I feel
yeah. All right. So what is the last thing that made you laugh till you cried?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Oh man. My daughter telling me that she was teasing me. And then like she started mocking me. And I was like, and like what she was just like mocking things that I do. And like, so like she loves to watch me coach. She was like drawing stuff on her Etch-a-Sketch and going, girls, this is the play. And like was talking like I do. And I'm like crying. And then I was like, are you mocking me? She said, no, daddy, I'm teasing you. And then like just kept going. And I couldn't even get mad. I laughed so hard, like I lost my breath, dog.
It's the best when you see the way little kids see you, because my grandbabies do the same thing. They will take so they have little bitty heads with my big ass hats, and they will put them on their head, and they will go like they put their arms a certain way, and they walk across the floor, and they're like, "Hey, get over here! Don't do that! Don't touch that!" And then they go walking back with that, and I'm just, oh my god, dude! They did that shit the last time they were here, and I was in tears, bro.
Yeah.
It's so funny, bro. All right. So a weird superstition or pregame ritual you had?
I would never put lotion on during game days. Don't ask me why, but like I always felt like it was like the dumbest thing in the world. Like that's the dumbest pregame ritual. But I would, and like if I thought, I'm like, dang, you know what? I put some lotion on my arms last night. I would shower before the game to try to scrub all the lotion off. And so like I don't know why. I wanted to be ashy when I played. So
just straight ashy,
more traction.
But that's real though. Like as a man, like I will only put lotion on at night when I'm going to bed. Because that way I'm like, it'll be soaked in by the morning time, because I won't gym with it. I work at home on a computer and I won't put lotion on before I work, because I'm like, it's greasy, it's slimy. I'm always doing something with my hands that I need the grip strength for. And I just don't have it if I put lotion on anywhere between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. I got to have my hands. So no lotion in those time frames, but I will grease it up at night.
I was like, yes. I was like, no lotion before games. And I wore the same pair of socks every basketball game for 7 straight years.
Oh, wow.
Wash
some sturdy socks. Those are some sturdy socks.
Oh, yeah. I washed yeah. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, I was out there washing them.
My daughter for a while played volleyball. She played volleyball from for the time she started junior high until the time she graduated, between travel ball and school ball. And she got into a thing where she wouldn't wash her knee pads. And so we got to a point in a tournament out of town one time that she busted a knee pad open. So we had to buy her new knee pads at the tournament. The whole team came up and thanked us for buying her new knee pads. And I was like, we've been trying to wash them. Like we would sneak and wash them every now and then, and she would get pissed because she knew they were washed. But we had to throw not only the knee pad, we had to throw her whole gym bag away, because the whole inside of the bag was just had it in there. They lived in there.
That was the worst. You forget to take your jersey out or something. You leave it in your gym bag and you open it up. It's like, ugh. Yeah. And then the worst is when you forget and you have to wear it for practice. Yeah. And you know it stinks. Like that was the worst. Yep. All right. Last quick hit question. What is a movie that always gets you hyped?
Oh man, movie that always gets me hyped. There's 2: Glory Road and Remember the Titans. I watch those entirely too much. But those movies always get me hyped. I know it's gonna be the same outcome every time, and every time I'm like, yeah, man, come on, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Basketball season will be starting practices soon, and I watch that at the beginning of every season to like hype myself up. You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so these would you rathers, I haven't read them. I put it in the chat GPT, and they gave me some 5 would you rathers. So would you rather? So this is what's funny about this. You're gonna laugh at this first one because you're gonna think that I specifically picked this one, and I didn't. All right. So would you rather dunk on LeBron or hit a walk-off home run in the World Series?
Oh man, I ain't even gonna front. if I'm booming on LeBron because that's gonna live forever. I ain't even gonna
Yep.
front. That's gonna live. Yo, that dude that dunked on LeBron in the Olympics last year, nobody knows his name.
Nothing.
But we
Nobody knows
remember
it.
that moment.
Remember, he got yacked on, but we don't remember who. And I can't tell you who hit any home run in any World Series in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
But I know the dude dunked on LeBron.
Yep. But you know who dunked? I know because Jason Tatum got LeBron, I think his rookie year. You know, that's like I know all these cats who dunked up, but like outside of last year, because I'm a Dodgers fan, so I know Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off in the World Series last year.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you who played the year before that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I can give you a rundown. I can give you a 5-minute highlight of who caught Bron under the rim.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So would you rather always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
Oh man, let me be early, man. Let me be early so I can pick my parking spot and my seat.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather, and this is going to be an easy one, I already know, would you rather give up pizza forever or give up wings forever?
Pizza can go.
Yeah, pizza got to go.
Keep my wings.
Pizza got to go. Would you rather relive your high school sports or your college sports?
Ooh, man. You know what? Probably high school, because the competitor in me, that was the one where I never finished it. I never completed the mission. So the competitor in me would say relive high school. I understand things differently. I will go harder. You know, I completed the mission in college. I was fortunate enough to win 2 out of 3 in college. I never made it to the big one in high school, so I'll probably go relive that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last one. Would you rather have unlimited strength or unlimited stamina?
Oh man, stamina. I'm already strong, but man, I'm a lineman. I can only go so far, and then I'm done.
I'd rather be as strong as I am forever than really strong for a minute.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right, yeah. And I'm thinking unlimited stamina, you can gain strength.
Exactly.
Like imagine you don't get tired, how much you could work out and can just build your muscle up, right? Like, you know. So yeah, I agree with you with that one there. All right, so in closing, let's ask a couple closing questions. What's one thing that you all would want men listening to the show to know about emotions?
Man, just kind of what you said earlier. That's who you are. We're emotional beings. It doesn't make you any less of a man to know how you feel.
Right.
It actually proves that you're man enough to be in tune with those emotions.
Jason?
Well, I mean, because we talk about strength and we joke about all those things, but I mean, it legitimately, you have to have the strength to look within yourself and pick those out and name those feelings and be present for those feelings. And you have to, like Derek, you were talking about earlier, you have to own up to the things, mistakes you made when you had those feelings. It's important. Right. I mean, it is as important as it gets if you're going to not only withstand these relationships and these emotional times in these relationships, but to be able to mend and repair, missteps. Like, you've got to be able to do it. And it's very important to just be one in those feelings. Like, you've got to sit with them. I treat it like a loading and unloading zone. Like, you can park there for a minute while you unpack the things, while you unload those emotions, but then you got to close the door and keep moving. Like, you can't stay there forever, but you still have to process those emotions, because if you don't, they're just going to keep coming back, and you're not going to know why they're coming back, because you don't know why you got them in the first place.
Right. Absolutely. I think you can process them and move forward. Yeah. Right? Like, two things can exist at the same time. I can feel what I'm feeling and keep doing what I need to do throughout the day. Absolutely. Like, I don't need to just only have a moment or feel it now, suppress it and move forward. It's like, I can feel this and still be able to move forward. So, and stay tuned for an episode we're going to do coming up called Does Therapy Make You Soft? That's one coming up here in the next few weeks. So
it's going to be good.
Final word for guys who feel stuck emotionally.
Man, I would say, man, you're only as stuck as you allow yourself to be. You're only going to be stuck if you refuse to do the work. So if you feel stuck, maybe there's an element of work that you have yet to do. And a lot of times the answer to whatever we feel stuck in is actually right in front of us, but you have to have also a sense of humility and humbleness to say, I'm gonna do this work, So if you feel stuck, I would definitely say first examine yourself. See if you need to humble yourself in some form or fashion.
That's
and
good.
and
That's
and
good.
then because a lot of times through humility we're man, I'm able to figure it out just that easy.
Yep.
So I would definitely say, like, explore those elements with yourself, and see if that's what's keeping you there.
Okay. That's good right there, bro. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's gold. Yes, stuck is honestly, it's a frame of mind. If you're stuck, that just means that, like AJ said, there is more work to do. You got to figure out where the stuck is, like where it's coming from, and you can't just use stuck as a cop out and be like, well, I went as far as I can go. That's what it is. We talked about this at the beginning. Like, did you give it your all? Did you give it everything you could possibly give it? Because this isn't just about sports. This isn't just about could you have made it to the next level. This is your life. Like, it is so important for you. Like, you can't give up on life and just say, oh, well, I tried. You did try, but you got to keep trying. Like, the antithesis of moving forward is to keep trying. Because if you don't show up for yourself every single day and try to be better than you were yesterday, even if it's just 1% better, it sounds like a cliche. It sounds kind of dumb to be like, oh, it's going to be 1% better. But it's facts. Like, it's the most factual thing you're going to learn about life every single day. You've just got to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And if you're not striving to do that, you need to figure out why. You can't just say, well, I tried. But did you, though? Did you really try? Like, the honest, raw conversation with yourself needs to be, did you really try? Did you give it everything you had to be able to try to get past whatever is keeping you feeling stuck? And if if you did, then there's something that you're not able to do on your own. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. That's why therapist exists. That's why therapy's a thing. That's why therapists are out there and go and get degrees so that they can figure out things that you don't know, because you didn't get a degree in therapy. So you're not a therapist. You don't have all the schooling that they do or the knowledge that they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's things I don't know how to build a house, but guess what? I know people that do. So you go get those people to do that for you. Therapy's no different. If you're finding something that you can't build on your own, then you have to go find the person with the tools to help you build that thing. It's just what it is. It doesn't, like AJ said, it doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you more of a man to be able to go within yourself and unpack things that definitely need to be unpacked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, last one. What's one small step that you're going to challenge yourself to, and maybe us, to take after today?
Do it when you say you will, the first time. Do it when you say you will the first time. Because that's also where healing starts. That's where the work starts, right? If I'm man enough, and if I'm can hold my word enough, can uphold my word and my bond enough, right? You remember back in the 90s, it was like, yo, B, word is bond, right? Like, that was what cats, that was the thing, right? So it's like, yo, if your word really is bond, do it the first time you say you're gonna do it, when you say you're gonna do it. Because what that does is, not only are you building up equity with the people around you, you're keeping yourself accountable, thus building up more equity to be able to trust yourself as a man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason?
Yeah, I would honestly say, I challenge each of us to really pushing forward, find one area that we are really uncomfortable with in our development as where we are right now. And I would push each one of us to figure out why we're lacking in that one area. Wherever we're undeveloped, dig real deep and figure out why we think that is, and how we can move forward with developing whatever area it is we're lacking in.
That's good. That's good. I would say, just came to me, before you respond to your kids, if they're upset or they're angry or there's something, just take a second before you say what it is that you're going to say, and ask yourself, is this worth what I'm going to say?
Yes.
Is this about me or is this about them? And just take that brief moment to process and ask yourself, is this about me and what I'm feeling, or is this about them? And then choose to say what you're going to say or not based on that. If it's about you, hold it. Just let them feel what they're feeling and talk about it. If it's about them, then maybe it'll be beneficial to say to them. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. Real quick, AJ, where can people connect with you out, bro? And tell what else do you have going on outside of this show today, like that you want people to know about?
Yeah, man. You know, number one, they can find me on any social media platform, including YouTube. Coach AJ Bussey, Bussey. Man, I do 60-second theology posts on all of my platforms. I'm a coach. I'm about to start showing my a couple of like little training videos, just some stuff that I'm doing with some athletes, man. So, you know, I've been in sports performance for a decade, on top of everything else I do, you know, so that's really what I got going on. I'm also writing a book. Ironically, I said it earlier without even meaning to say it, but the book is called Daddy Issues.
Okay.
You know, and it's just me exploring life as a man, as a 30-something who realizes that, yo, like these are the things that I have to overcome so that I can be a better father, a better man, you know, a better human, a better husband. You know, so been writing that. I got 8 chapters, you know, and I think we're about to wrap it up, and then I'm send it to be edited out and published. And, you know, it's not going to be real big, but I'm really excited to drop that next year. You know, I think it's just, I think it's an important conversation because it's a conversation that me as a man that it's conversations I've had to have with myself.
Right.
Within the work that I'm doing, you know, so definitely be on the lookout for that one.
Okay. Jason, tell everybody your socials and everything.
That's dope, AJ. I'm excited to get my hands on that and read that out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So social media platforms, you can find me on Instagram at @THA_Smithsonian_. And TikTok the same. Actually, TikTok let me have the Smithsonian because the museum doesn't care about TikTok, but they really cared about Instagram. So they just got mad that I was cooler than they were. So that's okay. But that's about it for me, bro.
Okay. And mine is at @TheGiant_Therapist on all platforms. I also have an app. Check it out, syncyourlife.org. That'll be coming out. It's a mental health app to have something to process and talk about and track other things within your life between therapy sessions. And then I actually ain't told you this yet, but I'm a licensed life insurance agent now, and I'm working to become licensed with insecurities. And so if you need life insurance, holla at me. I can do that now. And then, you know, I'm doing free financial needs assessments at this point just to learn and train on the securities part of things. So got to have life insurance, fellas. If you don't have a nest egg saved up to care for your kids and your wife if you die suddenly, get life insurance. It's important. It's not that expensive either. So, and the younger you can get it, the cheaper it's going to be, and it'll keep that same price for 30 years, no matter how old you get. So get you some life insurance if you don't have any other sort of nest egg and stuff built up. But that's it for today. Join us next week for episode Dad Bods and Emotional Damage. I think it's going to be a real good one, talking about just different things as you get older as a dad and the changes in the body and different things like that. So, man, AJ, we appreciate you being a part of today's episode. It was a super dope conversation. You brought a super dope perspective to everything, and I appreciate you being vulnerable and open and honest and being a part of it, man. So hopefully we can get you on in the future. We talking about maybe doing like a sports roundtable every now and then and just talking about sports. So I think that would be a super fun time to do, especially have you a part of.
Let me know, please. Let me know. Hey, LeBron the greatest. Jordan is a bum. You know, whatever I can say to get a reaction. You know,
right. Well, if you're listening to this, man, subscribe, share.
Yes.
Share this episode. Subscribe to all of our social. I guess I should say our socials. That might be beneficial.
Maybe.
We are the MAJO MAJO podcast on all platforms. So follow us on all platforms. Share this. Get the word out about what we're doing. We super appreciate the support. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.